Welcome to another episode of Break Time, the show that pumps the brakes on the busy lives of our guests, allowing them to slow down and open up. Today, we're chatting to Jackie Reid, founder and sales director at Deli Lites, the home of food on the move. Jackie is responsible for the growth of Deli Lites into a global powerhouse of premium food-to-go products that has seen them supply huge names like Boots, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Spar, SuperValu, Centra, Mace, Costa Coffee, Aer Lingus and Applegreen. She's also steered the ship to multiple award wins, including several Sammie Awards, a WTCE win in the Ones to Watch 2024 category, several Newry Area Business Awards, and becoming the world's first B-Corp sandwich producer. Jackie is a beacon of inspiration for women in business, a real stellar example of how self-belief and hard work can propel you to great places. From producing 30 sandwiches a day to over 84,000, Deli Lites is proof of how a local business can grow into a global brand without losing its roots. So Jackie, welcome to the podcast. I am delighted to have you with us today.
Thank you, Caroline. I'm so delighted to be here.
Great. So we'll get started and I'm going to dive right in and tackle the story of Deli Lites. Can you tell us about how it started in that famous trip to New York with your sisters and how this inspired the concept for the business?
Yeah. Well, do you know what? It's so long ago, but it's so important as well. I think every business is based on a good story. So I have 4 sisters and a brother. We're all from a farming background. We're very much, a good family, working family, always looked for, new ideas and something to do different from what you were doing around the farm and in South Armagh. So we decided to go on a wee trip to New York and have a look around and see what was happening there. And then that brought us into the New York Deli scene, which was just fabulous, Caroline. Like, there was queues down streets. People were standing like maybe 2 hours for these amazing doorstep sandwiches that were made fresh in front of you. And I remember my sisters came back and said, do you know what, this is what we should do in Newry. And it was like one of those sort of aha moments, I was like, really? Yeah, should we? Like, would Newry people get it? And Siobhan had said, let's do it. Let's give it a go. So it was actually then just a few months later, then the first sandwich bar, Deli Lites, opened in Newry, and that was in 1994. So at that time I was only a student and I was just really like learning from my sisters and seeing what was going on. But I was so intrigued and they inspired me. I looked up to them because, I had 4 of them, which I was very lucky, and I was the youngest. So I was just seeing exactly, what they were going to do next. And I didn't really know myself either because I was only 16, and at that time I'd left school and I didn't go into further education. And I was trying to work out really what I wanted to do because the girls had opened the shop. And then I sort of realised, what is my strengths? I was good at talk and I loved being social. So I decided to give media studies a go. Yeah. And I'd done it for a few months in the tech in Newry. And I really loved it. But unfortunately, I got a bit sick and I had to take time out. And that made me have time to reflect. And at the same time, the girls had said, come on into the shop, Jackie, see what it's like. And, do you like the retail sort of trade and dealing with people and whatnot? So off I went anyway into the shop and started to work. Alongside
from the ground up then.
Yeah, really, with my sisters. My mum was in the back kitchen shredding the chicken and, it was all sort of hands on deck, and I loved that environment, Caroline. It was like addictive. I loved the social end of it where, you were never bored. Every day was different. The development in food and also, the customer service element of it really captured me. And, that was the moment I thought, okay, I'm going to do something.
Great relationship with people as well. Yeah. But don't you find that when you love doing something, it's not work. Yeah. It's a passion, it's a drive and you just it's so easy. Yeah. And tell me this here, when you were in New York, Was there one particular deli place, or was it one particular sandwich you went, whoa, this is it. This is what we had to bring back to Newry?
Yeah. Well, I remember in New Jersey, it was called the Barefoot Contessa. So I think it was Ina Garland. I think she was a celebrity sort of chef back in the days. And it was her deli. And she was cooking this amazing chicken. She was coating it in a lot of spices, Cajun spices, paprika and herbs and everything. And, it was a secret recipe at that time. So it was like very sort of shut off from many of the staff and how to make it. And it was cooked fresh every day, and it was sliced hot, and it was put onto these amazing sandwiches. And it was like, wow, we need to bring that back. That was something so different, because back then, there was no sandwich bars, there was no delis, there was nothing like that in Ireland. So that's when we knew we had to bring it back. Great story, man. And every business starts with a great story. So again, you mentioned about when you worked in Deli Lites, you were only 16, and working with that close-knit environment and family. And I know that working with family, at times it can be a bit tricky. How do you find working with family? Because now you've taken that from even working with your sisters and your mum into working with Brian as well. Oh, yes. I know. It was like, stepping from, the sisters into the boyfriend thing, working together. But it's amazing the way you can adapt. And I think, with being in the environment of the shop with my family and meeting Brian in the shop as well as a customer. Yeah. So I don't know if it was the love of the sandwiches he was in for, or he had an eye on me, but that's where I met Brian, and it was all very natural. It wasn't forced. It was in that environment that I was working, and we got together, we sparked, and he was doing hospitality and the tech as well at the time. And, he had a really interest in the whole, cafe scene and everything. So we decided then, listen, there's an opening here. There's a market to bring, what the girls were doing in the shop, but to bring it to the rest of the country. Yeah. And we were going to do that. This was a new concept, a new idea that we came up with. Because we could open shops. We could have, cut and pasted and open shops all over the country. But we didn't want to do that because we knew, obviously, there would be a lot of investment initially. And we were like, this stage, I met Brian when I was about 18. So we were only about 18, 19 at the time. We had no money or anything. So he said, right, I'm going to go away and work for 6 months in the Caribbean cruise liner. I'm going to earn some money. Yeah. I was going to continue working in the shop. And then when he came back, then hopefully at that stage we'll have saved a few bob and we'll start the business. And that's what we done. Well, he came back initially and I said, yes, more than ever, let's do this. And he says, right, let's take a couple of weeks in Europe. We can go on a road trip.
Yeah, I heard this, something about a borrowed car.
Oh, yeah, goodness, yeah. And it's back to the car thing, the link with Shelburne and everything. But it was so funny because back in you're talking, 26 years ago, Brian used to rock up to my house out in Silverbridge in this, his granny's Mini, right? And it could hardly get over the kettle griddle because the wheels were so small.
But you heard him coming.
Oh, you heard him beep, beep. And I said, right, okay. So yeah, let's go on a road trip around Europe. Sounds fabulous. Let's do it. But not in your granny's Mini. Yeah. So at that stage then, we came up with a deal to swap cars with my sister. She had a Peugeot 406 at the time. So she agreed to give us her car and she would drive Brian's car then for the month of how long we were going to be away for. So off we set then in the Peugeot 406 and travelled around Europe. And we slept in that car, we ate in that car, we pulled into every petrol forecourt.
And they're the best times. And when you look back, you had nothing, but they were great. The memories.
We had so many, we just wanted to get out on the open road. We were young, we were vibrant, we were like sponges.
Yeah, so taking it all in.
Taking it all in and moving over the border into different countries in Germany and France. And we didn't care. And then we were heading to Italy and I wanted to go to Rome and we were driving towards Rome and the Brian turned around and says, listen, I'm running out of money here. He says, we were going to have to go back because if we want to start a business, we don't have any money left. So we turned on the road. We never got to Rome.
Really?
And we came back. Yeah.
And tell me, have you ever got back to Rome again?
No, it's on the to-do
list.
massively on the. I was in Italy, different parts, but not Rome. And we just came back, and then we got into business mode. And you know, my sisters, which were brilliant. You know, the shop was there in Mullen Street. We were thinking, okay, we need premises to make the pre-packed sandwiches. We done the research out and about all throughout Newry and Moore and Belfast. We had the market research. We seen that there was a massive opening. Nobody was doing pre-packed sandwiches to the standard that I wanted to make them to. I wanted to bring what we had done, seen in New York and then opened in Newry, to the rest of Ireland and beyond. But at that stage, it was just to the 32 counties of Ireland. That was my ambition.
That was the vision then.
Yeah. So we started then with the premises, and that was the kitchen of the deli in Newry. And we had to go in at 12 o'clock at night. We had to make all the sandwiches overnight. And then at that stage, Brian just left about 6 o'clock in the morning and delivered out the sandwiches to the different petrol forecourts. And then as it grew over the week, and the filling stations and the managers was running out of stock, they were phoning us up. We need more of these. They're sold out by 12 o'clock and it hasn't even started lunchtime. I was under pressure because it was only me making the sandwiches and Brian doing the prep during the night. So then I quickly had to bring people in overnight, and took in some just young girls who wanted a few hours, and they helped me, and it grew very quickly. Like the first delivery was 30 sandwiches, and by the end of the week we were making 300.
Amazing. But you probably didn't even have time to pinch yourself to think, this is bigger than what I thought, because you're so in it. You're so busy making the sandwiches, trying to prep, trying to think ahead, and
I was knee deep in it, Caroline. I really was. But
and sometimes that's the way. And you look back now, and I know you said you left school at 16, but no textbook or no teacher will teach you what you have learned in the deli. That business relationship, the timelines, the leanness of trying to get that product from that chopping board to out to that customer, and that relationship that you build with the customers as well.
I know.
Because that's so important for your business, is that going back and committing a product to that person, make sure you deliver that product to that person as well. So
it was my heart and soul.
Yeah.
Like, it was more than a product. It was everything. You know, like when you start something on your own with your partner, it's your everything. It's everything we talked about from we got up in the morning till we went to bed at night. We just loved it. And I remember even looking back now, I didn't know what marketing was. Hadn't the first clue. And, you know, we went and we got flyers printed out. And we delivered them round to all the businesses on the Belfast Road, because at that time one of our first customers was Aer Clark Oils on the Belfast Road, and still today he's our customer. And the same
loyalty, is fantastic.
You know, so it's having that dedication and that service that, you know, right through 25 years on, those customers are still loyal to us and still mean an awful lot to us. Like, I would still call in and speak to Niall. Now, his father's dead, passed away years ago. But I deal with the son now, and he's now in his journey of growing the business. It's great to see that.
It is. And whilst we all scale business and we love that new business coming in, the bloodline is the repeat business that comes all the time, is that relationship that you build with those people, that familiarization, that, you know, delivering consistent. And that's so important for every single business as well.
Absolutely. And it's being consistent, as you say, but also innovating, never standing still. That was very important. Like, we knew when we were in the deli making the sandwiches during the night, and we were getting busier and busier every week. And as the girls, my sisters, were coming in the morning at 6 o'clock to prep for their day in the cafe, I was still there cleaning up after my, you know, night's work. Yeah. And then it was getting to the stage where they were coming in on top of me and I hadn't finished because I was so busy. And I remember them turning around to me. I was only like 3 weeks in or something, going, "Jackie, Brian, I think you may, look
it's
at
time.
elsewhere, because I could see that they were, getting frustrated because we're family, and you can only ever do that with family, because, they understood to a certain degree.
Push the boundaries.
Yes, I was encroaching now on their space and their time. So then I realised, okay, we need to now be out on our own. The honeymoon period's over as such.
And that was the time then when you went, okay, this needs to get bigger. Yeah. We need new premises.
We need to step up now. We need to, cut the umbilical cord from the family. Thanks for your help and everything. Give me your premises.
We're on our own.
Now we're on our own. So off we went looking for premises. Oh my goodness. Like 26 years ago, every industrial estate in Newry, we went in, knocked on doors, any units available. But we had no money, and we didn't want to go into a blank sheet like 4 walls. We wanted something that had some sort of connection with food or, that would be easier to adapt to a production kitchen. So we obviously spoke to our local environmental health, and they were looking for us as well to get a unit. And then just by, coincidence, we were driving around Warren Point, went down to Milltown Industrial Estate, and I seen a unit, and I don't know what it was, Caroline, but I says, why don't we try that unit there? And I was beside Paul Graham's unit there in Milltown, and knocked on the door, nobody there, and somebody told me to go over and speak to Paul Graham. And he was a gentleman. And he says, yes, Jackie, no bother. I can give you that unit. He says, you're not going to believe this. He says, there was a prawn and shell and prawn production site there 3 weeks ago that closed down. He says, the only problem is it's a bit smelly, but it's all covered. The walls are covered in food grade. There's a big walk-in chill. He says, it's more or less ready to go. I couldn't believe it. Me and Brian looked at each other and went, this is a sign. Yeah. So we opened the doors, and the stench of prawns now wasn't nice, but we got it completely cleaned out, and we were in it in about 6 weeks' time.
But you know something, sometimes when you put it out to the universe, the stars align, and it's just meant to be.
It was meant to be, and it all sort of stacked up, and it was like, right, this is serious now. This is the path we're on.
And the work ethic that you and Brian have is exceptional. So when you go back to that, when you first started that business and you had to put that hard work into it. So take me back to that scenario. How did you get that up and running?
The production side, the first one, well, again, family and friends. Oh my goodness, like it was brilliant, the support we got. Again, my mother came down, Lord of mercy on her, she's passed, but she came down and helped on kitting out the kitchen, and she bought us our first big stainless steel tables. And, Brian's mum was fantastic. She was doing all the invoicing, because at that stage, we were trying to be on top of the dockets we were giving out, but we hadn't a clue how to invoice properly. Yeah. So she had done that in previous work, and she worked with us for about a year. She done all the invoicing. She taught me and Brian how to do it and collect money, and she was fabulous. And back then, fax machines, that's what we were working on. All our orders were coming through on faxes then, because she said, listen, you don't want to be hugging up the phone here, because, constantly on the phone taking orders.
And that was innovation back then. That was like a fax machine.
A fax machine, a big thing. And wait for these faxes to come through. It was unbelievable. And but it was exciting, because at that time, Caroline, I didn't have anybody in sales. Literally, I had a kitchen. I had about 4 or 5 workers helping me make the sandwiches, and Brian was doing the ordering. Plus, he was looking after the van and getting the deliveries all sorted within the time frame, collecting money. So we were sort of going, right, what about the sales end of things? But we were very lucky, because there was organic growth back then, because word spread very quickly about these amazing sandwiches. And, we had shops ringing us flat out. And then, schools, hospitals, then there was universities. And I was like, right, okay, this is getting big. And we were only in that unit about 3 years, and we had a luck again.
Really?
We really did, yeah. So the industrial estate was good to us. And we actually then moved from that small unit down to the bottom of the industrial estate. So we had moved from about a 6,000 square foot unit to about then 12, double. We thought double's fine.
Yeah, but you always do. You think, we'll put that extra in because we'll never fill it. Yeah. And then you go, we've run out of room again.
And this is it. And this is a learning curve for us
Yeah.
as well. Because we were still only in our 20s and we were very young. And, you know, so we went for double the size. And it was a amount of money for, you know, it was a jump in rent and a jump in everything, you know, our overhead costs and everything. So we knew that. But we were very careful at that. Even being so young, we were self-funded. So we had no debt, and it was very much every penny we took in from the business
Was invested back in.
Now, my social life back then was dire. All my friends were at university and, you know, going out at the weekend, you coming up, Jack, come on for the crack, and Brian. We couldn't do that.
I know.
So
you had responsibilities, you had people.
We had people,
yeah.
we had a business. I was so passionate that I was not going to let my customers down.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for every opportunity. You know, phone rang, I was the first person to answer it. You know, I was making the sandwiches. I made sure every order got out on time, every day. And that was just it. It was like married to the business. But I loved it.
But that consistency, that's what people want.
Yeah.
You know, when they want to, you know, order, they want the phone to be lifted there and then. They want to have that delivery, and that's exactly what you gave them.
Yeah, and I didn't learn that. It just came to me.
Yeah, naturally. It's in you, you know, it's instilled somewhere in there. And Brian as well, you know.
We were very
like-minded.
Oh, we were very like-minded. We're very different people. Mm-hmm. Which is fantastic, and that's why I think it's worked.
You need that wee bit.
Do you know what I mean? It's worked so well, and you know, we didn't mind after all that, you know, we couldn't get out at the weekend because, you know, we were able to do things that, you know, our friends couldn't do as well, you know, and we bought a house when we were 21, and, you know, we were very self-sufficient and very independent, and, you know, so we knew that, on one end of it, we were missing out on a bit of the whole social life, but we were building something great.
Different level of freedom, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when you were doing all that, did you ever get time to sit back and go, this is the vision, this is the plan? Or was it, as you said, just that organic growth? It grew and grew and grew. And then when it got to a certain point, you had to go, the vision is now greater.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we quickly were expanding throughout the island of Ireland. So, you know, at this stage, we were supplying probably, I'd say about maybe 15 counties, thereabouts. So I knew I wanted to supply every county in Ireland. That was my initial vision when we started. And that's why we didn't go into the coffee shops business. And we moved into the new site, the 12,000 square foot site. And we never got a chance to sit down and plan things. We didn't, I'll be honest with you. It was unravelling before our eyes. It was all happening. It was creating organically. It was all just, we had no control, but it was good. It was good stuff that was happening. Yeah. So there was one day, and I'll never forget it. I was, me and Brian was just finishing up, and we were cleaning up. It was a Friday evening, I think. And I was leaving the office, turning the lights off, and I was down the bottom of the stairs, and I could hear the phone ringing. And Brian was saying, come on, we have to go. We were here all day. Come on. We were exhausted as well. We were very tired. And I says, I have to just get this call. You never know who it is. So ran back up the stairs, went into the office and went, hello, how you doing? Deli Lites here, Jackie speaking. How you doing? This is Ian from Costa Coffee. I'm just ringing from Scotland, and, you know, I would like to set up a meeting. I was going, Costa Coffee? Yeah. What are they ringing me for? I was going, right, okay, absolutely. When are you thinking? Well, I'm coming over to, flying into Belfast next week, Wednesday, or I can't remember the day or whatever. And I was going, yes. And in the back of my head, I was going, hell yes. I was going, and Brian was waiting for me down at the bottom of the stairs. And I ran down to him, and I said, you never believe who that was.
One phone call.
Yeah. And he says, no way, because I would be a bit of an old mess, or, you know, and joking about and all. And he says, no, you're a mess, and no way. So what would they be coming to Ireland for? And I said, well, they're coming because they want to speak to us.
But that's reputation is just amazing.
Yeah. And like, I don't know how they found out, because back then there was no internet. There was no website. So they obviously had, you know, travelled over and looked around and seeing who was doing what in schools, there was no major cafe scene in Ireland at that time.
Yeah.
So they found us from somewhere anyway, and we did have our phone number on the labels. Thank goodness we had that. And so, yeah, listen, Costa Coffee then brought us to another level. You know, that vision from, you know, 1 county to 32 counties happened very fast. And it was a wee bit challenging initially because when they came, their first Costa Coffee chain was in Belfast City Airport, right? Which is fine because we were servicing Belfast at that time. So that was easily integrated into our current business. But the second one they opened was in Cork.
So how do you logistically, yeah.
So this was a bit of a challenge. And this is when I looked at Brian and went, that's your area. I'm going to stay in the kitchen. And seriously, he had to then work out the logistics of that. And that's where Brian is fantastic. You know, he has, you know, he was able to work out all the different routes and how it could be done with, you know, profitably.
Yeah.
And that we weren't losing our shirt over it. And to be fair, we weren't we weren't able to do it profitably at the beginning. But this is the thing I've learned about business. You have to look at the big picture.
You do.
So you may have to lose money on the short term to make it in the long term.
For the bigger gain.
Yeah. And that's what we done. And Brian worked it all out, the network then of how we could fill all those other counties in Ireland so that would make the routes more profitable and more economic, really.
And it's like any entrepreneur, if anybody asks you about new business, the answer is yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
And you work the how out then.
Yeah.
So, but you get that, you have to get that business first. You can't say, no, we can't do that. And then wish you had done it 10 years ago. 100%. You have to seize absolutely every opportunity that comes your way.
Yeah, and I did.
Well, definitely.
And then my problem was is learning to say no.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another story.
But I think then you get to a certain point that you can say no to certain things because it doesn't suit your business. But when you're growing and you're growing so rapidly, it's very hard to say no to new business, especially as a fledgling business, because you want to survive. You've got a vision to grow. Yeah.
And those early days, absolutely no was not an option.
Exactly.
I've learned it now that no sometimes is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's me progressing as a leader and a founder, you know, and also gaining confidence on what type of business suits your business. Are you aligned as a company? Have you the same values? So, yeah.
And that comes with experience. That's hard to learn.
Yeah.
So it is. And going on to another question is that, again, with that such rapid growth, how do you have that consistency? Because we can grow really quickly. And all of a sudden we look at one department and go, how did that go? There's leaks in that, there's cracks in that, you have to go and fix that. How did you have that consistency on a continual basis with such rapid growth?
Yeah, well, I knew myself being in the kitchen and that this wasn't going to be sustainable if I didn't bring in expertise. I knew that, you know, the bigger you get, the more risk there is. And regulations and, you know, making sure that you're making this food safely and in the proper environment because you have a responsibility out there. So quality all the way, and I have been from day one. And, you know, I wanted to protect the brand and the credentials and the quality. So we brought in a quality manager very early on. And this quality manager focused specifically on, you know, the quality of the ingredients, where they came from, you know, how they were stored, the shelf life, the whole, you know, supplier code of practice. That was so important, that who we were buying our ingredients from knew how we were invested in our customers and we wanted that same investment from them. So the quality and the consistency and how it was delivered into us on a daily basis had to be to our expectation, because we had an expectation to our customers. And very early on, we integrated that into the business and that partnership with our suppliers. The quality manager, then, you know, she was so important in us securing more contracts going forward. So that investment, which was a lot back then, was crucial in our development and our growth and our consistency of scaling the business from what it was back then to what it is now, even so a lot has happened in between that. So yeah, that was massive. But also the stage of me getting out of the kitchen, Carolina.
Yeah,
I had
letting
to
go,
literally
cut that other.
I had to get the hands out of the coleslaw, and I had to really cut the strings again, the umbilical cord from the connection with, what I was doing and the passion I had on making the food and so perfectly well.
Yeah.
And those standards, I had to then pass that over.
Which is really hard.
Oh my goodness.
It's the worst.
It was the hardest thing I ever done.
Yeah.
It was the
because
hardest
this
thing.
is you've created this, and all of a sudden you have to give it over to somebody else and trust them to love it the way that you love it.
Yeah. And like I had the foundations right because I took the quality in first, and she was able to work with me. She knew me.
Yeah.
She knew the DNA that I had and that I wanted to, follow through on the business whenever I had moved out of the kitchen. So she captured that, and then she trained the new managers and, the quality supervisors on the lines to ensure that, the way I wanted things continued.
Exactly.
And
that,
they did.
that level, that DNA continue within that.
Yeah. And that was, I suppose, a big part of, me stepping out and, working on the business rather than in the business.
And I suppose when you look back as well, working in the kitchens, making the sandwiches, having that passion for that, that's what you do because you had to do that.
Yeah.
But the talent that you have as well, which probably wasn't realised back then, was the people person that you are, the selling, going out and actually telling people how good your product is, which has been amazing as well. The relationship that you've built with businesses over the years is incredible.
I know.
But you're selling your wares. But the confidence, where does that confidence come from? Because you're going into boardrooms, you're pitching. That doesn't come easy. And again, you didn't learn that back in a textbook either.
I know, and it's like, I don't know. I think I've sort of winged it in a sense because I've maybe leaned into what I thought I was good at. And, those early days of working in the shop helped me find that in myself. And because it's a hard time at 16 not knowing what you're good at, because I've kids now, teenagers, and they're going through the exact same thing. And I didn't have confidence. I think I was naive. I think I was fearless. I think I was a blank sheet. I was somebody who was wanting and craving that, time that I would shine and that I would feel like, yes, I like this. Yeah. And I think it wasn't necessarily the food initially in the sandwich bar that I really loved. It was the social impact it had on me. So I knew when I was working in the kitchen then, and when I'd scaled the business up, that I needed to get back to that because I missed it. I love that social connection, talking to the customers, networking, and showing them, my passion for the business and how I can help them, with their business and make their business more profitable. And, I just wanted to really pass on everything I knew and to really help my customers. And it just sort of came naturally. And I don't think I'm a confident person. Actually, a lot of times I question, what am I doing? And even you asking me,
we all do,
here to do this podcast. And I said to myself, there's no way in the world I would say no to Caroline. And but sometimes I think to myself, what does she want to speak to me for?
Yeah.
Or, I'm sitting in a boardroom and I'm speaking to the board about, the strategy or the vision for the business outside of Ireland. I'm going, I don't even know any of this, but I feel it. Yeah.
Although I've been always told that if you have a love and a passion for it, it'll come out. You will, when we talk about interviews and so forth, and if we're being interviewed, just be natural. Yeah. You know your business inside out. Yeah. And that's what comes across really naturally. And when you're in the boardroom and talking about that, that's where the passion and people can see that. Yeah. It's really infectious. And it, even today, it's really infectious, Jackie. It really is. Again, to us, a sandwich, we get a sandwich made and it's like 2 bits of bread and, some filling in the middle. But for you guys, the creative lens that you have, is fantastic. And you've won so many awards for this as well. I think there's 2 Kirstys in your business.
Yes, there is.
And they had one Sammie's award. So can you tell me what sandwich that was? How did that come about?
There's that many, Caroline. I suppose, we have a cabinet up in our office in Warren Point.
You'll have to get bigger cabinet.
We do, definitely need to increase the cabinet space now, because the amount of awards the girls and the team has won over the years is phenomenal. And that's led by Gary McDowell, who's been with us for nearly 10 years. He's our head of food innovation. Amazing guy. And I took him in because I knew I needed that inspiration, because I could only take it so far. I was out and about doing the networking, researching, speaking to the customers, but I needed somebody back at base who was making the magic happen. Yeah. And Gary's fantastic, and he has made the magic happen. He built his team around him. He is about a team of 5 or 6 in his department, and he has encouraged them. And these are young girls who came out of college, who wanted an opportunity on the bigger stage to show their, capabilities and what they could do. And they entered the Sammie Awards in, I think it was 2 years ago, and they both won awards for that. And it's so amazing to see their passion turn into, get the just rewards for their passion, which has been infectious throughout Deli Lites. And they're so delighted to be part of that. And I think it's all about, bringing your staff on and your team on and encouraging them. Because it's not about me and Brian anymore.
No, it's about the team.
You,
all the time.
How they progress in their job, and, how they feel about, coming into work every day. But awards has been a massive part of our business, and it just shows really, shows credibility in what we do. And our quality has always been at the first, at the foremost of our business. It's the profit to me has always been a secondary thing. I was in the business to, do a good job for my customers, but also look after my staff and make the best food I possibly could to the highest quality. And all the awards we've won over the years has been a testament to that and to the team.
Yeah. And what number of team do you have now?
In the total business, we have just shy of 400 people.
I mean, that is amazing. And how do you keep that going with the team? How that relationship and being there, knowing everybody and keeping everybody in the same thread?
I think it's just been, open and honest with them, and, go and speaking to them, working out on the line. I do go out on the lines probably twice a month, and I speak to the staff and I get involved. And I know all the guys in the logistic department and the MPD department and finance and obviously sales and marketing and technical. I think it's about, showing them who you are. Yeah. And showing up. And, for them to see you coming in, it's very important when you turn up for business every day with the right mindset and be on time and be in good form. 100%. And it does come naturally to me. I think I'm an agent most of the time, but I don't let things get to me. Maybe I hide them very well, but I always show up for the team and work and for the customers. And I listen to them. And I think it's very important to have an ear and ask them about their family and how they're getting on in their jobs. And, that's very important because it is like an extended family we have.
I was going to say, you start as a family business. You want that to continue. Even if you're up to 10,000 staff, you still want that family feel, don't you?
It's just amazing. And I must say, like everybody who's been with us for such a long time, and I mean like over 20 years now, they just love being part of Deli Lites, and it's just a really cool environment to be in. Yeah. And I'm so proud. And, me and Brian has worked very hard on that. And we have a lot of challenges because, there's unskilled workforce there, and to try and motivate them and help them every day coming in doing the same thing. But we try to, have team building days, and like even this morning, every Thursday we have a toast club where we bring everybody from the lines, from the office, from sales, from technical, all down into the canteen together as a group,
Yeah.
not separated. Everybody is there having tea and toast together, having a chat.
Great.
How's your family? What's happening in your life, or how's the kids, or, where are you going on holidays? Those nice chats. And that is for about an hour every Thursday we do that. I'm actually missing that this morning, Caroline.
I'm really sorry about that.
Those sort of important, time outs for your people is important. And also the town halls we have. Brian introduced the town halls there about 2 years ago, where we bring all the staff, the team members out, and we talk to them and we share the vision of the company.
Yeah.
And, where we're going, what we're doing, how we're getting there, how does it impact them, what do we need? And that all, links back into B-Corp and being a credible, sustainable business and being ethical and, giving back, or, what we're doing in the next couple of months in regards to our B-Corp accreditation. So it's all very important to communicate effectively. And that's what we try to do as a business.
No, it shines through, so it does. You also cater for a diverse range of dietary needs. And I know you're vegan, and you have been for many years. Yeah. So it must have been really frustrating, growing up, and you go into the shelf and there's very little on that shelf that caters for that. So how does that spur you on to produce quality food that's not only delicious but inclusive as well?
Yeah. Well, I think it's about, just having a good variety of fantastic tasting food. Like being, a vegan or even vegetarian, the food was always secondary. Everything, the quality, the flavour, everything was secondary out there for vegetarians or vegans. And I was going, hold on a minute. I know it's only a small percentage of the population, but I do believe it will take legs and it will increase over the years. And was I right?
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
Right. Yeah. We launched our first purely plant-based range back before COVID, believe it or not, in 2018. And it was a fabulous range of, falafel wraps with hummus and beetroot, so you had superfoods in there, and it was all about your health and your brain, but it tasted so good, Caroline. It was absolutely delicious, and it really, really hit the shelves, and it performed excellent. We were so delighted with it, but obviously then you had the dreaded COVID to hit then after that, and that sort of changed things. But now, what we do today is a lot of health and vegan varieties that is for everybody. It's for flexitarians. So people who normally would eat a ham and cheese sandwich is now moving into maybe a falafel or hummus sandwich because they trust it. The flavour's good. And also just from a health and dietary aspect, a lot of people is maybe cutting out meat now, maybe
but
less
even people going through different changes in life, women, and everything changes as we grow older as well.
So we wanted to make our sandwiches, our vegetarian and vegan sandwiches, inclusive for everybody. Yeah. That it didn't taste of cardboard, or that it was just cheese, or it was just plain old, uninteresting sandwiches.
Changing people's mindsets really with it, isn't it?
Exactly. And there's a lot happening there in the food industry at the minute, and we're constantly sort of, pivoting and changing, because it's a very interesting space, and the whole, dairy end of things, and gluten-free, and, now the fat jabs, or, you have to be conscious of what's happening out there in the environment. But we have the team that I have full confidence in making, developing the range and bringing it out to market, and it being a success,
That's amazing. And tell me then, in 2024, you landed a pretty monumental contract to supply Aer Lingus.
Yes.
So how did that come about, and what's the challenges for that? Because whilst you're on the ground and you're catering for that, now you're traversing through the sky. So how does that change the dynamics of your business?
It's pretty amazing, yeah. It was sort of like one of my visions as well, as part of supplying outside of Ireland, was, how do you bring sandwiches off the island? Well, the easy way is on an aeroplane. So it's right. I says, okay, we've fantastic customers all throughout retail and food service and education and health, but let's focus on retail or in airline sector and see where that goes. So obviously Aer Lingus, our national airline, they're no better airline to partner with. Obviously knew our quality, and just an opportunity came up where they were looking around, and I had to do a presentation myself and one of my team members, and they just loved the story, Caroline. They loved the story of Deli Lites, the heritage, the ingredients, the family values, that, that grit, determination, that passion from where we started to where we are today, and how I wanted to bring that to the skies, and I wanted to share it with the rest of the world. So they allowed me that platform, and they trusted me and my team, and we developed a range for Aer Lingus, which was amazing because it was the first range that we were ever in Aer Lingus that was Deli Lites brand. So they trusted the Deli Lites brand so much, they said, we want to collaborate with you guys, with your brand, and supply across our network of airlines. So that was massive, and I was very, very excited. And I was thinking at the time, oh my goodness, my poor mum and dad would be so proud.
Yeah, that definitely is the pinch me moment. It's like, that's another accolade.
It was, and we continue to grow on that today. And I think with proving what we can do on the airline or the travel sector, and other airlines has came on board now as well on the back of that, which is fantastic. We just had a contract there with American Airlines, which means we're supplying all the airlines going out of the UK and Europe back to the States. And again, they trust our story, our product, what we stand for, B-Corp credentials, all that hard work that we have really invested in the business over the last 25 years. I believe it's all coming together, and people can see that we are different and we are a bit special, and we have that magic sprinkle or that magic sauce. I do believe we have that.
Definitely the magic sauce, definitely. And you're also in Europe.
Yes.
So, the amazing thing about this, which I love, is that it's all created here. Yeah. All the sandwiches, you haven't farmed this out to different places.
No.
Home is home.
Home is home.
How do you get that from here to Europe and still have that Deli Lite freshness, that wow factor?
Yeah. Well, again, that was part of our export strategy that I put together in 2016 of how do we bring Deli Lites off the island of Ireland without massive cost to the company or risk. So we had to get our heads around this, and it wasn't an easy task at all, but I knew everything we had done regarding our quality and our credibility and our relationships with our suppliers should allow us to do this if we're clever. And we worked with Loughry College on, how we would be able to, freeze sandwiches effectively. So on defrost, they taste like something you made in your back kitchen.
Right.
So this was a bit of an aha moment. So I developed a range of delicious toasties, and that's Irish for toast, toasted sandwich, and it's like an Irish take on a croque monsieur. So it's beautiful, like sourdough bloomer bread with a cheese topped lid on it with bechamel and some maybe paprika or some crispy onions, and then inside you would have like torn Irish ham with mature cheddar cheese and maybe a wee bit of Dijon mustard or something like that to elevate the flavour. So we made that fresh, and we were able to blast freeze it within, I think it was maybe 5 minutes, which straight away captures the flavour, locks in that flavour. So whenever it's regenerated, it's brought back to life again, and it's toasted in Belgium. It just tastes like you made it in your kitchen out the back. Yeah. And really, amazing. That was the magic of bringing the quality that we do in Ireland to the rest of Europe, because they didn't have that expertise. They didn't have that creative mindset in Europe to be able to make products like we could make in Ireland. And that's due to our amazing MPD team, our fabulous suppliers, our passion, grit, determination, and our self-belief. So all those things put together makes something special. And I knew that we could just replicate what we do in Ireland very well if we could find the customers in Europe, and we found them.
Brilliant. And have you tried to keep that Irish feel throughout the sandwiches, or have you tailored that to the individual countries that you're going to?
A bit of both. I suppose a mixed bag on that, I'll be honest with you. One of the German airlines we supply, Discover Air, loved. We met them at a show, the WTCE show that's over in Hamburg. It's happening now in April again. We won an award for that last year. But one of the buyers for the German airline was at our stand, and he loved our sourdough, our ham hock sourdough toaster. And he loved the fact that there was actually Irish stout, Guinness, non-alcoholic, mind you, stout in the sauce. And he was going, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like this. I need this toaster. I need this. Yeah. That bread is just fabulous. And I thought, goodness me, he's a wee bit over the top.
Yeah.
But I was thinking to myself, oh God, will he like the price of it as much as he likes the
taste,
product?
Yeah.
But he did. And it's now in all the airlines in Germany and Discover Airline. And it's one of their best-selling toasters. Actually, it's our only toaster. I think they have a panini or something as well. But he loves it, and he loves the fact that, there's got that Irish heritage to it as well.
Yeah.
And, it's our brand's on it, the story's on it. We put QR codes on our products to show that if customers on the flight are bored or they want something to do or whatever, they can just scan it and read the story. And it brings them back to B-Corp and who we are. And
people love that. They really
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because more people now is interested in what they're eating. This is the thing. Years ago, it was a means to an end. Oh, just grab something to eat. Processed food, done that. But things have shifted. We can see it in front of our eyes now with the amount of clean labels coming out there in the marketplace and food. And we're looking at that massively at the minute as well. And, people do care about what they eat, and they will only repeat purchase if it's worth it. And we believe our products is constantly, purchased based on the quality, and because people trust that and they like what they're eating and they like where it came from and the company behind it all.
And the heritage.
Exactly, yeah.
You talked about B-Corp, and like any business, you're trying to always seek out, improvement and development for your business. And in 2022, you achieved the only sandwich company in the world to achieve the B-Corp status. Mm-hmm. So what was the moment that you realised Deli Lites was ready to be held accountable to that standard?
I think it was over the whole COVID period when we had time on our hands, to be honest.
Yeah. Because it's a big project.
Yeah, massive project, and only for COVID.
Yeah.
See, good positive things come out of COVID, because what I'd actually done, all those walks up the mountain with me and Brian, thinking about our business, is it lost forever, or is it going to come back, or what's going to happen, just made us think about how well we've done over the years. And even if it doesn't come back to what it was or it's gone forever, we enjoyed the journey. And we said that. And as we were walking up the mountain and all, 5 hours a day nearly.
Where all great ideas come from out walking, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, Brian said, you know what, you think of it, there's this B-Corp, legislation now that puts a rubber stamp on companies that are socially and economically, reportable to, this governed body of B-Lab. And it's all about what you're doing for your environment, for your staff, for your people, the culture of the company and how you are really, running your business day to day. But he says, you think of it, Jackie, what have we done over the last 20 years? We've invested in our people. We've had culture committees helping with day outs, and, we have an initiative going years ago, Love Your Lock, where we went down onto the Strever Beach and Warrenpoint Beach, and we all picked up the litter together. Yeah. We done that as part of the business and the community, just to give something back. Because we love our lock, we love where we live in a place of outstanding beauty, and the Mourns is just fabulous, and we have to realise that we're very, very lucky.
We have to take care of it.
Yeah, we do, and we have to look after our community and the environment and everybody who lives and works there, and also buys our products, who is our customer. So he says, do you know what? I think we're nearly, a lot of things we're doing already we could go for this B Corp. We were already having solar panels on the roof of the factory. We had already a fleet of electric vehicles, and we were recycling our packaging. We had partnered with FoodShare, who is a company who takes any surplus food away and
for your waste.
Yes, and regenerates it or whatever. But this, we knew we were doing all the right things. So actually, when we looked at the legislation of B Corp, we went tick, 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 tick. We got the team together and says, oh my goodness, we're like 75% there. So it was literally just a rubber stamp on it. And now there was further work to be done, but we were already doing the bones of it. And that was brilliant. And we were so delighted we started in that journey, and we still have it today.
And that has a huge impact on the corporate clients that you deal with today. Massive, because that's a great standing as well to say that I'm B Corp.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, we've won an awful lot of business based on our B Corp accreditation. They just look at you in a different way. Your food is good and you've got, reputation in the marketplace, but you've actually pushed the boundaries. You've stepped out of the conventional way of doing business, and you want to be a force for good. You want to bring people on this journey. You want to do something different. You care more about your customers and your suppliers, and, you're being consistent and you're leading the way. And the major multiples and food service companies across the world want to be partnered with companies like us.
They do, yeah.
Because that helps them in their journey of sustainability and what they're doing in their legislation or their company values. So we've won quite a number of contracts on the back of it, because it is very time, it would take up about, we have a sustainability team which take maybe two days a month, really full time, to work on it, to make sure it's consistent and we're doing everything we're saying we're doing, because you don't want to be doing greenwashing.
Yeah.
It's very important. A lot of people do that, but we're very clear that everything we're saying we're doing it, and it's recorded. So we're very lucky that our customers has looked upon B Corp very well for us, and has given us contracts based on the back of it.
I think it's amazing, and congratulations. It really is. It's a huge thing for any company to state that they're actually B Corp. So, and to be the only one in the world is just fantastic. So,
and also we're very open to helping any other companies who are thinking about B Corp. We've worked with lots of companies there in an open sort of forum to talk them through the whole process. So if anybody is interested in B Corp, absolutely reach out to
because it can be really daunting.
Brian. Yeah. We'll help
Absolutely.
you and advise you.
Fantastic. So I read a quote from you in an article by NI Business Info where you said, all my entrepreneurial skills come out when we're deep into the process. So at a young age, starting a business as a woman, and very challenging at times, I'm sure, with people taking you seriously and, what does she know? And how did you find all that confidence?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where I came from, but naivety, I think back to that, just getting on with it. And
must do.
Yeah, must do. But I think whenever you're making a good product and you see it literally hopping off the shelves and the demand is high and the feedback's fantastic, you do automatically get a bit of confidence there, because it just makes you feel like we're on the right path here. We're doing something good.
Yeah.
It's working. So you feel more confident then whenever you're going into meetings for pitches that actually my product is amazing. It sells well. You get behind it and you start to really believe in it. And I think that has happened over the years. Didn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. But, it is about that self-belief, because people buy from people. So they have to believe in you and what you're about. And I have walked into boardrooms and I've walked into presentations where it's been all men. And I've been intimidated, and I had to stand up in front of them and explain to them why choose Deli Lites. What's different about my company to the next? And that's pretty daunting. Yeah. But when you walk out and you get the phone call the following week to say they're delighted to award the contract, it just elevates you to another level, and you do
more
feel
confidence
amazing.
comes in,
and every
bit
bit by
pitch.
bit, Caroline, it comes over the years. But the biggest thing for me, it's not about winning business; it's actually maintaining it and keeping it. And that's what we've done amazingly well over the years. The customers we've had from day dot, we still have today, and that's what keeps me going.
Yeah,
And I know my relationships are so strong that they trust me, and they also respect what we do and they care.
Yeah,
and
which
that's
is
so
lovely.
important.
Really lovely. So I think it's fair to say that while Deli Lites still lives in Newry, the roots probably sort of began somewhere in New York, somewhere in New Jersey. And I know a goal of yours is to have Deli Lites in New York. So can you tell us about that? Are you on that journey or?
Yes, that would be lovely to do the whole full circle thing, because that passion from, the New York deli scene, like I've revisited those stores and walked down those streets, and it is a feeling like that if someday we're supplying back into, the US, may it be through, partners with the travel sector or food service, I would just sit back and just be so, so happy. But I do have a belief it'll happen. I know Trump isn't helping the situation.
Yeah.
He's put a few blockages up on that end of things. But I do believe we will get there. We've secured a lot of business throughout Europe and further afield. And I think the US there is for the taking. We were in IFSA, which is a big airline show in California there just back in November. And that was our first exhibition in the States. And I was there again with a colleague, and it went fantastically well. So we have partnered with a major food service provider out there. So it's a matter of time for us to get everything in place so that Deli Lites will be.
Yeah, the stars align then.
Yes. But it's amazing because whenever, we've been supplying American Airlines with our Planet Cafe brand, which is another brand that we have of mini snack wraps. They've been contacting us to say, can we have these wraps in the US? They're absolutely delicious. I love them and I love the story. So it's all about a matter of timing. And we are on that, climb. The business has so much more to get. It's exciting and you just don't know what's around the corner.
Well, you don't. I find this as well when we go different places and you look around and you look at the business that's available, and then we come back and go, guys, there's so much more out there. Yeah. We're only touching the surface of this, and that's the lovely thing about being in that position to be able to drive and lead that business forward, which you're absolutely doing, and you're nailing it totally. Deli Lites are now producing 30 million sandwiches per year, and they're shipped off around the globe. So for you, when you get back home, close the door, what is your go-to sandwich? What do you do?
Well, I would say it would have to be my falafel with the peri-peri hummus.
The spice.
Oh my goodness, the peri-peri hummus is fabulous. What we do, and I shouldn't be giving my secrets away, but we pimp sandwiches. So not just your regular hummus, we have to add in different flavours to make it that extra special. And that's what we've been doing for all these years. So the bit of peri-peri sauce and our own spices coming together, thrown into the hummus, mixed with falafel and like a lovely crunchy slaw, all wrapped up in a tortilla. Fabulous. That is my go-to. I love it. It's tasty. It's healthy. It's full of energy. Helps me on my hikes up the mornings. So that's most definitely my go-to sandwich.
Delicious. So it does. So, and again, in a busy life, busy business, how do you turn up for your business every single day? How do you put your face on? What do you do?
What do I do? Well, I get up quite early in the morning. I do quite a bit of wellness and meditation. And again,
so important.
COVID helped me, identify that, slow down, quieten the mind and think about, what makes you happy in life and how your day can make other people happy and lift people's mood. So it's very important in the morning. Every morning I get up around 6 o'clock. I would do 20 minutes of morning meditation, and that's just completely in the quiet. Nobody else about apart from the dogs barking and the cat.
Shut that noise out.
I'm trying to block that out. And that's what they say too. The meditation, you should be able to do it in a noisy room. Unfortunately, haven't mastered that just yet. So I do that for about 20 minutes in the morning. And then the kids would be getting up for school and whatnot and see them off and make sure they've their nice falafel sandwich or their ham hock and cheese, whatever's on the menu that day.
Their lunchbox must be a bit of envy in school for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I try to get up the mountain, Caroline. I do a hike, the mountains behind me. So I would do that and then I come down, get showered and straight into work then. And I feel amazing. And I'm so enthusiastic and I'm so grateful because on that morning hike with the fresh air hitting you and the gratitude of where you live and where you've come from and where, you know, everything you do on a daily basis, I just show up for work like that. And I try to lift everybody's mood and keep everybody enthusiastic in their jobs and, you know, just show up in a way that I feel proud every day. You know?
Yeah, because it's very difficult. If you don't focus on yourself to start off with, it's very hard then to give that warmth to everybody else as well.
100%. I think, you know, you're a leader. They're looking at me. And, you know, if I'm turning into work in bad form or slamming doors or running in unprepared or, you know, late, you know, they'd think that'll be acceptable. But no, I go in a calm manner, have my coffee. We've a fabulous barista as you walk into our site in Mourne Point. Lovely coffee grinding and get my coffee in my hand and I go up to the team and I get a brief on what's happening on the day. And there's a lot of meetings going on and we would have meetings for the week scheduled for customer visits or if I'm going out to meet somebody or see a customer or, you know, if I'm have any shows to prepare for. So listen, it's a very fast-paced environment, but damn, I love it. Yeah,
listen, you can tell that you know through the conversation we have, the passion that you have is fantastic. So, you've 3 children?
I have 3, yeah.
Yeah, and same as myself. And would you love to see the children coming into the business, or would you want them to find their own pathway?
I think most definitely find their own pathway. Like my eldest is 20. And he's very similar to me and he's great at chatting and he's quite naturally social. Yeah. So he's doing a business degree actually up in University of Ulster in Belfast and he loves it. He loves learning about business and he's been working since he was about 12, you know, in the bakery. We have a bakery as well. We make amazing brownies and flapjacks and different things. So when he was 12, he was like, Mummy, I want to make a bit of pocket money. And I thought it was great because I've been working since knee high, really.
Get that work ethic in
early.
Absolutely.
Very important because that sets the toll and you want them making their money from an early age. So he's working in the bakery, eating maybe too many brownies as well at one stage. But he was earning his own money and then he sort of developed within the business and he was working in the sandwich manufacturing lines. Then he was working in dispatch and then he moved into the technical office to learn about it. And now he's learning a wee bit about sales and marketing because he might want to do a postgrad or something after his days at uni. But this is really just to give him experience of the different departments in the business and to really help him find out what he wants to do. But it's most definitely not a pathway for him to walk into the business. I think it's very important. And me and Brian spoke about this. You know, let the kids find out who they are. You know, give them the experience of working in a business in whatever area they want or every part of the business. But do not leave the doors open for them because I'm too precious to have my relationship with my 3 kids that I would be afraid at any time if there was an expectation on them to come in, take over the business and maybe they didn't meet it.
Yeah. And maybe secretly didn't want it. Yeah. You know, that's the challenge.
So why put that pressure on them? Yeah. Let them be a free spirit. Let them find out who they are. Like I had to find out whenever I was 16 because if you just lay it on a plate for them, they'll never find out who they really are or what they're really good at. Yeah. So I do believe they need to go out there into the big bad world, find out who they are. Me and Brian will always be there for them, supporting them. And maybe someday they might think, I could buy you out. Yeah. I'll be open to that because I'll not be doing this forever.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, because it's a lot of hard work now. I do love it and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. But, you know, definitely. And there was a friend of mine, unfortunately, you know, John Purdy, he died yesterday actually, or he died last week. He was to join our board to be our chairman. And unfortunately, he never got a chance. He died before he was able to tell everybody, which was very unfortunate. And was one of the things he had said to me as well. He reaffirmed to me, he says, Jackie, you know, you've 3 kids, I have 2 boys. I let them do their own thing in life. Yeah. They've started their own business and they're doing amazingly well. And I cared about my relationship too much with them. I didn't want to jeopardise it by them coming into my business.
Great advice.
And I says to John, oh my goodness, me and Brian talked about this and we are on the same page. And, you know, that was fabulous advice. It just reaffirmed to me that I was right, because a lot of people would say, Caroline, oh, sure, surely the kids will take over the business. Yeah. No, why do that on them?
Exactly.
It's not going to help them grow. And like, I do respect other family businesses that's what they decide, and that's fine. But from me and Brian, we want them to find their own path in life, because I do believe there's an amazing opportunity out there for every individual.
Absolutely.
If they open their mind to receiving it.
That is very, very true. Very true. So before we come to the end of our podcast, because we've chatted away here, and this
I could chat away for another 3 hours.
I know. I'd like to get a bit of a peek into your car history. So a couple of questions. What was your first ever car?
Oh my goodness. It was a yellowy gold Vauxhall Corsa. Right. And my dad, Lord of mercy on me, he was pet. He bought me it I was nearly coming 21, and because I was borrowing his car at the time, because you obviously have one car for the whole family back in those days, and it was a fight over to get the car, and then getting a loan of my sister's. He always had Peugeots, and he just loved Peugeots, and I was going, don't know about the Peugeot, but I loved the Vauxhall Corsa, so I got a little yellowy gold one. Boy, I loved it, and it had a CD player in it, and I thought
all the mod cons,
fabulous, you know, all the CDs, putting in, listening to my music. So, yeah, that was my first car, and I loved it. And actually, had a great wee boot in it for packing the crates of sandwiches in as well.
Of course, it had to be practical as well.
Oh, absolutely, all that in mind.
And if you had the chance to drive any car without limits, what would it be?
Funny, you know, I'm a very practical person. Brian's massive into cars. I do like cars now. I do have a nice car and everything. But suppose, I think, you know, if a car could fly, give me that, because I hate travelling in the busy roads, and it's always 100 miles an hour to get here, appointments. And if you could invent a flying car, I'll be in the first in the queue for that.
I'll talk to the boys.
As long as it's reliable and it plays music and it's comfortable and it takes me where I want to go, I'm not fussy.
Yeah, brilliant. So lastly, if you could tell us where, if people want to know more about Deli Lites and about your B-Corp and so on, where do they find more about you and more about the work that you do and more about the company?
Yeah, well, listen, you know, obviously we have a website. Reach out to www.delilites.com.
It's a great website, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. And social media, Instagram, and obviously anybody, you know, students or anybody looking advice in their career. LinkedIn is a great platform. It's really helped me in the business. It's a fantastic community in LinkedIn. And, you know, I'm in LinkedIn and the business is as well. And, you know, we encourage all our team members to be in LinkedIn so that their services is there for everybody if they want to reach out or, you know, offer any assistance and anything. But, you know, even just pick up the phone and come up and see us. Have a chat, ask for advice. Like, I'm very much at the stage now where if anybody wants to chat about starting a business or how you done it or, you know, how you can help me, I'm here to help.
You give them time.
Absolutely. I maybe didn't have enough of that whenever I was young, because back then it was all sort of cloak and dagger. Nobody talked about their business.
No, they didn't.
But now it's so important to talk and have that open forum. So, you know, call up to our head office in Warrenpoint or into any of our shops, you know, get our number, give us a call. We have an open door policy and I'll always be there with a coffee and a smile.
And a great coffee.
Yes, absolutely. And a great sandwich.
So that's us for this episode of Break Time. And Jackie, thanks for joining me. This story has been absolutely amazing. And I can just see this going further and further and further because it's such an amazing business. And the work ethic and that you have and your teams that you've instilled into your teams is just amazing. So it is. So I've got high hopes that I'm going to be walking in New York someday and getting that Deli Lites sandwich over in New York. So, and I wish you all the very best. So thank you very much and for sharing so openly as well. So, and I really hope that in some way you've enjoyed yourself, maybe, possibly.
Yeah,
These are quite daunting, but
it was great. And thank you so much, Caroline, for inviting me along.
You're welcome.
Sharing the story. I really appreciate it. And if you are ever in New York and you see Deli Lites, take a picture.
I definitely will. I definitely will.
Thank you.
So if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and share it with someone who loves a great success story. Thanks for listening, and join me the next time with more guests, more stories, and more inspiration. Thank you.